Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And I say welcome back because I assume you've been here before. If you haven't, you're missing out. This is Nick Leonard. Today we're looking at the Nuix B-8 wireless guitar system. This was sent over to me by Nuix, and it's actually the first piece of gear I've ever owned and checked out by them, so thanks to them for sending this over. This system is based around a 9-volt foot pedal with a screen and a tuner and a wireless pack for your guitar. This wireless pack has a clip for your guitar strap, and it plugs into your guitar. It was pretty easy to set up. I didn't have to even pair these two, though you can use up to, I think, 10 of these simultaneously. It features intelligent frequency hopping, where the B-8 scans the 2.4 gigahertz band in real time and automatically switches to cleaner channels when interference is detected, ensuring a stable connection and clear audio throughout performances. It has a 1 MHz narrowband transmission. By narrowing the bandwidth to 1 MHz, the B-8 increases the spectrum efficiency and expands the available channels to 79. This gives the frequency hopping system more options to avoid Wi-Fi or wireless interference, even in high-density environments. It has 6-level stability, and with up to 12 transmissions every 8.7 milliseconds and advanced audio compression and uncompression, the B-8 ensures ultra-stable signals and uncompromised 24-bit 48 kHz sound quality. That all sounds great. I put it through some tests. I've got some numbers for you in terms of latency, as well as my own tests for range on this. And there's a few other features we'll go over. Let's talk about the latency right off the bat, because that's pretty important in a wireless system. This does have a transmitting option from lower latency to increased stability, and there's 6 levels within that you can choose from. The default out of the box, I measured at about 4.75 milliseconds, which is pretty good and low, and also had great range on that in my range test. On the highest end, I clocked it in at about 8.5 milliseconds, and on the lowest end, it's right at 2 milliseconds. Any of those numbers should be perfectly fine for live use. The general rule is under 10 milliseconds. Now, in my case, I'm plugging it into my interface, so that also adds round-trip latency. My interface is probably hitting about 7-8 milliseconds. And on pretty much any of these settings, it's not too bad. On the high end, the latency, I can start to feel a little bit. I probably wouldn't want to record with that. But on the lowest end or at the default setting, it is okay even with my interface. Of course, when I'm right here next to it in the studio, having it at the lowest latency didn't seem to introduce any issues with stability. In all of my tests, the only time I had any issues with stability was when I was really far away downstairs in certain parts of my house. So for my range testing, I took my guitar and I walked all over my entire house, and that is 2 stories into my garage, which is actually just below this studio, as well as all the way to the other side of the house, downstairs. The transmission was flawless everywhere except for one room where it started to break up, which was downstairs, and I guess was just behind too many walls. Probably more range than you'd realistically ever need in a live setting. Even if you're playing a huge arena stage, I don't think you would run into any issues because you're not going to have any walls between you. But this goes through walls perfectly fine, and doesn't have any weird glitchy sounds that I encountered. When it drops out, it just kind of cuts out and drops out. It's not like an analog fade out like fuzzy radio sound. It's a digital, just kind of dropouts. The range test was really good on this, and I didn't hardly have any issues. It did better than I expected even. It also impressed me with how many options there are. I expected this to be a little bit bare bones and just focus on wireless stuff. I knew it had a built-in tuner, but it also has 3 different tuner options for display, which is always nice. And you can also choose whether or not when you're tuning, it mutes your guitar or doesn't. When you're in the tuner, you can click the main knob and choose between several different tuning modes. There's your normal chromatic mode, there's a guitar standard mode, bass mode, and then a guitar compensated mode. The main home display also has 2 different UIs and selectable brightness. And there's language options. You can also put in a custom boot picture. You have to download a special software on their website to do that. It can actually run animated GIFs, apparently, though I tried and it took forever to upload, and it ended up with like a failure state. But I put in a single image, my own little crab logo watermark, and it worked. It kept saying failure as it was processing, but the progress bar would go up, it would say failure, and it would keep going up, which was odd, but in the end, it did transmit the image, and so now it boots up. It's got my own custom logo on it. That's fun. Didn't expect to have that. You can also choose whether the foot switch on the pedal activates the tuner mode or goes into the boost mode. It not only has an adjustable output level, but it also has a clean boost that can do up to 12 dB gain. If you have the foot switch in tuner mode, which I would probably do, you can also activate the boost within the menus and just leave that on if you want the clean boost. On the wireless pack itself, there is a cable tone option, which is actually really important. The sound out of this unit without the cable tone on is actually way brighter and clearer, and not just brighter, but also just different sounding. But with that cable tone emulation on, it sounded pretty much identical to plugging my guitar straight into the interface with a cable. So I'll play you some clips here of recording with an actual cable into the interface and then through the wireless unit with cable tone on and off, and you can hear the difference. It says the transmitter has a 6.5-hour battery life, and it does have built-in wireless charging. If you have the main pedal unit just powered, you can take the transmitter and just clip it on there. It's got magnetic wireless charging that will just automatically charge the transmitter pack, which is good, and it worked well. It charged pretty quick for me. So it's got lots of features. I haven't encountered any issues with it. I think especially for live use, this would be a great tool. I think I'd be happy to use it live. I don't have any reason to doubt its reliability. I'll leave you with some clean playing here so you can just hear for yourself that it does indeed sound good and there's nothing weird or artificial going on, at least nothing that I've detected. And as always, I encourage you to smash like and subscribe to my channel and come back for more videos on guitar stuff and other stuff, music related mostly.